Zuber,
Here.
Bruner. Here. Farnham.
Here.
Helsley.
Here.
Janice.
Here.
Voigt.
Here.
Patrick.
Here. Next item on the agenda, minutes of the April 12th, 2013 special meeting. Questions, comments? Hearing none, I would enter motion by Ben, second by Carl. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign, motion carried. Minutes of the April 17th, 2013 meeting. Question?
On the airport section, last month, the last motion that we made on for the contract to go back to the airport advisory board, to collect back lease payments and the insurance issue. I want to point out that it indicates in the minutes that the motion carried. The motion did not carry because there was not a majority vote. So I want to make that correction
Okay.
in the minutes.
So noted. Any other corrections or comments? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve as presented. Motion by Carl, second by Alan. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Claims against the county.
So moved.
Motion by Ben. Mayor second.
Second.
Second by Alan. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. County board members' claims.
So moved.
Motion by Alan. Mayor second.
Second.
Second by Dan. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 8, public session. Any comment?
Good morning, gentlemen. I would encourage everybody to take heart to what I'm going to express, because I think there's some things coming down the road that you want to know about. If a quorum is present, elected officials cannot avoid their voting responsibilities by refusing to vote when present at a meeting. The Illinois Supreme Court case Prosser v. Fox Lake. Inaction or failure to vote is given the effect of a yes vote. Same Supreme Court case Prosser v. Fox Lake. A councilman is elected for the purpose of expressing an opinion. Action and not inaction is a duty that he assumes with office. We therefore conclude that as the rule known as the common law rule is a proper and efficient rule to adopt in order that municipal business shall be conducted with proper regard to the wishes of the citizens. This common law rule may be stated to be that the legal effect of refusing to vote is an acquiescence in the action taken by the majority of those who do vote. So when you don't vote, your vote carries as a yea, according to Supreme Court case law. Another topic. Just prior to the beginning of the airport meeting last night, the chairman made the comment that she was going to have the sheriff at the meetings because people weren't following the rules. I would ask that the county board members that are on the airport advisory board let Ms. Bennett know what the rules are for the public in an open meeting. There were no rules being violated last night and no need for the sheriff's office to have to attend to enforce whatever rules she was referring to. I've witnessed the county board chairman cancel meetings without any authority to do so, and now we have the airport advisory chairman changing meeting dates on her own and not even letting some of the members know about it. Open Meetings Act. An agenda required shall set forth the general subject matter of any resolution or ordinance that will be the subject of final action in the meeting. The public body conducting a public meeting shall ensure that at least one copy of any requested notice and agenda for the meeting is continuously available for public review during the entire 48-hour period preceding that meeting. Posting of the notice and agenda on a website that is maintained by the public body satisfies that requirement. The airport meeting last night was not continually available, that posting, for 48 hours. Yes, it was posted here in the courthouse, but the viewing of that posting was not available and it wasn't on the website. Last night's meeting wasn't posted. I understand there was no action taken with that meeting. I would urge that compliance with the Open Meetings Act be taken, and we start doing things with what the law says. The statutes aren't guidelines, they're things we're supposed to follow. They're not just a reference tool. That's all I have.
Thank you. Anybody else? If not, we'll move forward. Item number 9. Mr. Sutton, you have a presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And my visit may be a little unique in that I'm bringing you a solution and not a problem. So, happy to be here representing the mass transit. As you know, about a year ago, we suffered what we kind of now feel is an irreparable problem. But we've solved it this way. We engaged the help of a mass transit group called RIDES that consists of 15 counties throughout Illinois. And they have been invaluable. We entered into a memo of understanding with them, and now we'd like to make that a permanent arrangement. They would be willing to come to Paris or Edgar County and take over our mass transit obligations and assets and run it very efficiently. We've checked with other counties and they're extremely happy with that arrangement. They can get things done that we can't get done in a small group, and they have already proven they've got clout with the state and the feds. So they operate by the book and take care of things properly. So I have a resolution to that effect. I'd like to present it to you and for your consideration, and I know you're going to have to seek legal counsel, so I don't expect any action on it today.
Okay.
Thank you for your time and attention. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you mind if we ask you a question or two, Mr. Sutton?
I'll take it under advisement. Go ahead.
Carl, didn't you have a question?
Yeah, did you say they're presently working with you folks?
Yes.
How long have they been working with you?
About 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
Yesterday, they had 3 of their staff members here, working diligently, trying to repair some of the damage, and now it sounds like we already have a better arrangement or a relationship with the state, and I think it has something to do with their ability. Of course, Clark County has to do this too, and they're being presented a similar resolution, so it can be contiguous. They're in Crawford County now, so Clark would be the next step, and then Edgar, of course, coming north.
So that's separate from the senior center,
Yes,
correct?
yes, it is.
Even though it's at the same,
Same location currently.
So two
They-
different-
yeah. They have other plans to have a building separate from the senior center.
Is their base in Crawford County though, or where is their base?
Their headquarters are in Harrisburg, Illinois.
Oh, what's that?
Jeff, do you have a question?
Yeah. Will this facilitate the use of that grant money that's been for the construction of the new facilities?
The state pulled that plug. Now it's back, it appears that it's back with their management.
Since the rapport and so forth has increased? So-
Yes.
So then you have a possibility of moving forward with that project?
I don't think there's any doubt.
Okay.
It may be an existing building, it may be a new building, but yes.
Any other questions for
Is this
Mr.
thing connected with Cumberland also?
I'm not sure if Cumberland's part of it. The list is in there at Cumberland. I'm not sure.
Which one?
Coles County is not part of it. I can say that.
Mr. Sutton, will the units that are being, I see everywhere, the buses and stuff, they will still be available like they've always been?
You'll be seeing probably more of them. They're talking about hiring more people, actually increasing some salaries. All the current employees will stay.
That was, I'm glad to hear that.
The vans will just say rides on them instead of Edgar and Clark County Mass Transit. So you'll probably start, if this goes through, we'll probably see some of those almost immediately, newer vans.
this is the group that takes the patients for analysis also, is that separate?
Yes,
Side
no,
drive,
no,
taking
it's,
action machine.
it's the same issue. Yeah.
Is Rides levying a property tax currently?
Don't know about that. Don't know about that.
Not,
I don't think so.
not in Edgar County.
Where
Not-
they're at is my question.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I don't know of any here locally.
Anything else? If not, thank you, Ken.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Next item on the agenda, discuss or act on the mass transit vehicle lease agreement between Edgar County and the Rides Mass Transit District. We put that here because King just told us about Rides. So, Augie, you want to explain about the two vehicles, please?
Evidently, the county owns, or has title to, 2 buses. And the Rides organization sent us a lease agreement for Rides to lease our 2 vehicles. And after listening to King, and we're gonna submit this resolution up to the state's attorney for his review. Even though Mark has already looked at this lease and said it's acceptable, there may be something in this lease that basically dissolves all of East Central Illinois Mass Transit and disposes all of the assets and gives them to, so it'd be my recommendation that we table this lease agreement till the state's attorney looks at all of this.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Carl, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. That will be,
I got a quick, are they paid for, those vehicles that they're after?
My understanding is we're not paying anything to anybody
Not that
for
I'm
mass
aware of.
transit. So,
Okay.
they're just,
So we don't owe anything on the county or the?
no,
Okay.
I have a copy of the title for each of those vehicles. I couldn't tell you anything about it, Mike.
we need to find out more about it, so
Okay.
that
I wonder who owns it.
is tabled.
Who's gonna maintain them then afterwards also?
Right. And if we're gonna dispose of them anyway.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, reappoint T. Bradley Tucker as jury commissioner.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Mr. Boyd, do I hear a second?
I second.
Second by Mr. Helsley. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Resolution to appoint Roger Ellis, Commissioner of Drainage District Number 6, Town of Prairie, and accept oath and bond of Roger Ellis.
So moved.
So moved by Ben. There a
Second.
second? Mr. Helsley. Roll call.
Zuber,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Helsley,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
It passes. Next item on the discuss or act on the county ADA policy. This is something that we've all seen. Kit gave us a draft. The new policy is out. You've recommended. It is not the draft, so any discussion? Any questions for Kit? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the new county ADA policy as presented.
It'll be a roll call vote too.
I move.
You were gonna have the state's attorney look at this, right? Or had he already looked at it?
He already did, he already
Okay.
did about a month ago. So,
Prior to
yes.
what we've got is.
Prior to what you have is his recommendations put in there.
Motion by Jeff, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Dan. Roll call.
Zuber,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Helsley,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
It passes. Number 14, renew special advanced liquor license for Castle Fin Vineyard and Winery.
What's that about?
Well, this is something that we do every year, has been done every year. The board several years ago created a special events liquor license, which allows a winery to sell other alcoholic beverages when there's a special event at that winery. Other than that, then the winery is limited to just the wines that they have there. Weddings, class reunions, bands, whatever special events going on at the winery. That fee is $1,000. And of course, that's Rob Morgan that runs Castle Finn.
Is there any limit on how many special events? You remember the wording?
I am not aware, I don't think there's any limits on the number of how many special events there are. We could go back and look, there's
Just wondered if
volumes on it, but I haven't seen anything that limits the number.
Motion by Carl, second by Jeff. Is there any other discussion? And that event, roll call.
Zuber,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Helsley,
Yes.
Janice,
Yes.
Voigt.
Yes.
It passes. Next item on the agenda, renew ambulance service agreement with Eric Shaughnessy. Eric's here with us, so you want to say a few words about this?
Sure. At work session, we talked about the contract that we have. Currently, right now, if one of our EMTs or paramedics would be involved in an accident in the line of duty, they would not qualify for the federal death benefit. It affects us, it doesn't affect the ambulance service, it affects the family and the surviving benefit people, their family members. Right now, if someone would die in line of duty, they wouldn't get it. If we change the wording in the contract, which Mark has seen the contract, Mark has agreed to the contract, the people would stand, or the family members would stand to get $328,612. So a large amount of money if something like that were to happen. And the wording's not in our current contract, so it was recommended that we change the wording in the contract. This law was just passed earlier this year. President Obama signed it into law to where it does affect EMS. Before, it only affected police and firefighters. So we've had that language changed into the contract so that would, if something were, I'm not wanting it to happen, but if something tragic happened, it would cover the employees to get the federal death benefits. It doesn't involve the county, it doesn't involve the ambulance service, it's truly a federal death benefit that comes from the government. We just have to fill out the paperwork and submit everything for it. And then also in the contract, there was some language that needed to be updated that hasn't been updated in the last 10 years. So we made the corrections that Mark requested in there. And with that, there were some other questions about liability insurance and having the county added into our liability policy. So if something were to happen, that our insurance would cover the county so they wouldn't be responsible for any of their defense. To prove that their county's not part of the ambulance service. If that makes sense.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Shaughnessy? If not, great. Thank you. Do I hear any?
Is this an extension? Because yesterday I thought we looked, or 2 days ago, this is like a new contract?
No, this is, we renew next year anyway. So this, we're going ahead and renew it a year early, basically.
Yeah, initially this was it was a 5-year contract. After the changes were made, it would be another 5-year contract.
Starting
now.
Starting now.
And Mark suggested that because otherwise we would be doing this again next year, if that makes sense.
I move that we table this until we talk to Mark about some concerns some members have.
I have a motion on the floor to table it. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a second by Carl Farnum. Motion made by Ben Jennings. Are there any questions or
Yes.
comments?
So, we're tabling this till,
Next meeting, I'm assuming.
so we have some questions, we're gonna ask Mark about something?
Yes.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor of tabling this to the next meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
One dissenting vote. Motion carries to table it to the next meeting. Next item on the agenda, take action on the airport FOIA litigation, 13 MR 30. Everybody knows what this is about. We
Could we
discussed
review that? I'm not sure
it was,
exactly what it is.
you want to explain that on
I
here?
think I remember, but maybe some people in the audience
Well,
may not remember.
Mark reviewed this with us, and there was an offer to just settle the case for the amount of court costs. And that would, Mark's recommendation was that we go ahead and do that. Just put it behind us and move on.
What was, remember the court cost, $250, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was somewhere in the $300, give or take, area, maybe a little less than that, I don't know.
Where's that
A
money
little less
go?
than that?
A little
Okay.
less than that.
Where's the money go? Doesn't go to,
Goes to the sheriff and the county clerk, or the
that's why-
circuit clerk, I'm sorry.
Well, we charged it to begin with. The filing fee was $141, and then the service and summons was probably whatever else. So we charged it, but I guess it would go back to the plaintiff.
Yeah, it doesn't go back to
It
the
doesn't go to
sheriff.
us.
It goes
Well,
to
the plaintiff, though, paid for it.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Plaintiff has
basically, the
already paid.
funds end up back in the county,
No,
No.
gonna go back to the plaintiff.
but the plaintiff paid you,
Mhm,
and the plaintiff paid the sheriff.
mhm.
so it's just like, okay, so it comes out zero basically, one way or the other. So that doesn't really cost us.
The only thing I'd like to say is it needs to, if we could, I'll talk to Don and Augie, but it should come out of contingency. And that way we don't mix it with anything else. And, okay.
What, John, do you have an exact dollar amount?
He's, state attorney got it.
Okay, well, he,
141 plus,
he couldn't be here today, he said it.
plus 141 plus 82, I believe is what it was.
Okay.
We'll get to that amount. Do I hear a motion to approve that action?
I make the motion to approve.
Motion by Dan, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alan, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Officer Department Head reports. We'll start over here with the sheriff, Mr. Motley. what do you have for us?
I really don't have anything, but I'd like to put my 2 cents out about those vehicles that you may be receiving. Mass Transit, I might have one of them, if it's free and clear to get rid of. I just want to throw it in my.
You know, actually, it's a lease that this Rides Mass Transit wants to keep them in service and lease them from the county is what that's about, so there aren't any.
Well, I thought I heard him say that you may be trying to, you're gonna be talking about the lease.
We're gonna discuss the lease
And if you
later.
don't take it, maybe you can find something to do with one of them.
We will keep you in mind if they are available, how's that? Okay,
I have no-
nothing else? Beth?
Don't have much. We're expecting the final multiplier from the state, hopefully by the end of next week. File shifts are done, so as soon as we get the final multiplier, Augie can start on his process.
Well, good. Thank you. Who else do we have? Chad?
I have nothing. That was fine. Thank you.
Okay, Karen?
I think we're good, thanks.
Anything else from Kit?
I just want to remind everyone, hazard mitigation meeting 4 has been scheduled for June 11th. Just want to encourage all the board members to come. This will be the actual meeting that they'll break up different entities and different groups to see what we can do to get the money. So 6 o'clock at the 4-H grounds, and then we'll send out reminders again like we did last time. That's all I have.
And you will remind us.
Yes, reminders will go out. We had a really big turnout last time, so I want to thank everyone for coming.
Don?
Thank you. The report that I would give you, basically, our cash flow is, when you're looking at that 3/4 down the page there, is better than it was a year ago, better than it was last month. So I'm smiling over that. I'd like to remind the board members, we have 3 payrolls this month and some other obligations that are coming due. So we're just gonna hold our breath and hope that we receive some more revenues through the state. I will make note of one particular reimbursement revenue that I've been mentioning a couple of times this year. We have received all the probation reimbursements that are due us from the state. I spoke with Shad several times the past week or two, and we're all on the same page, so that's a good thing. And that, once it started, it came all at once. I mean, it's just boom, boom, boom. It's, within a month's time, we got all the money. Well, not maybe. We got 68,000 in about a month's time of what was due. So we've received the full 90,000 that was due us. Income tax is the main other source that is still behind. We've only paid up through January. So if we could get February and March, that would sure help us end the month on a good note. Are there any questions from the board or anybody? Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Don.
I just want to update you on the cost of this last election. We have a total of 13,307 registered voters. 2,465 actually voted. That is an 18.52% turnout. And when we add in the total cost of that election, it comes out to $10.37 per vote. And in comparison, that's on the high side to some of the other elections we've had. It's closer to more normal, but it's still fairly high. Any questions on that? And again, I would just mention that the state has no plans to reimburse us for any of our election judge expense. So we have to take that into consideration. A couple of weeks ago, I attended an authorized agent for IMRF seminar, and it was a good review for all of the duties that we have as we deal with IMRF. Billy Ann went with me also, and nothing really new worth mentioning other than we need to make sure that everybody understands that IMRF is a completely separate entity from the other state retirement plans in the other state plans. So there's what, five other state pension plans. IMRF is completely separate. It's funded at the local level, and they are 85% funded. So their investment returns have been very solid, and so IMRF is on a firm foundation. Of course, the people in Springfield would like to get their hands on IMRF, but there's a lot of effort to prevent that. So, Jeff?
Did you find out anything about concerning that letter that said that they had excess, so they were going to
Yeah,
look
that was not, she did not know that part of it. That was for another area. But we did get our preliminary rate notice for next year. Did you get a copy of that?
I haven't had my hands on it, if it's, maybe
Okay.
it's Pam's.
Billy Ann printed it off and gave it to me and said she was gonna give you a copy, so, I don't have that information. If because of the excess or the earnings from last year, if that was gonna help lower our contribution.
Or
um,
somehow.
Somehow in there, yeah. Check with me afterwards and I'll show you that paper.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
good
Thanks.
question. Good question. So that's, well, no, just a small comment. Bob has been cleaning out, the election room for us, down in the basement where we store all of our equipment. There's a lot of mold down there. There's, paint's peeling off the walls, and he's gone in and scraped it all out and replastered a lot of places, and gonna repaint, obviously, and clean up, and we've been cleaning out and hauling to the Kreckman building. So I wanna say thank you to Bob for all his hard work. And then also just another comment, I think Sheriff Bob and Owen have done an excellent job in maintaining the building. The floors look wonderful, it's clean, it smells good, especially when that orange polish goes down on the floor.
Just
And
looks clean.
I've heard so many positive comments on that, so we do notice what goes on around here. That's all I have.
Thank you.
I know sometime last year you had water leaking in your election stuff. That, I assume that leak got took care of.
Well, I'm not aware of it leaking anymore, so I think Bob must have put some caulking out here on the steps. That's where we believe it was coming in.
He also put some new downspouts, it's getting
He
the
changed
water.
the downspout.
That's right. He put some new downspouts that got it out further away too.
Do you need that for, I mean, could that stuff be stored out at the Kreckman building with all that space out there, and you could utilize that for office space down there for, I'm just asking, because I don't know exactly where that room is.
Yeah, well, I'd be glad to show you.
Okay.
I'd be glad to show you. It's down in the basement.
Okay.
And,
You have to wear a hazmat when you get in there.
Okay.
yeah,
I just,
it's not, I mean, it's
With
not
black
that.
mold.
It's not- Yeah, you wouldn't want to be down there and have an office down
Okay.
there.
Just
And
wondering.
we were talking about maybe trying to make some other arrangements for our equipment so that it's not subject to that moisture, because that can't be good on anything.
well, there's plenty of room out, as you know, out there at Kreckman, so.
Yeah, well, the back end's starting to get kind of full. Have you been in the back end?
Yeah.
There's a
Getting
lot
some
of,
things in it, yeah.
there's a lot of things back there, but maybe some of the offices could house a lot of that stuff. Good point.
Thank you, Augie. Next item on the agenda, Donna Bennett, the chair of the Airport Advisory Board, has some comments she wants to make.
Okay, I'm amazed you chose to be here today because I've been absolutely bombarded by people in the community asking me what's going on at the airport. Because the people that know me know that that's been a passion of my life, the airport has been. And in answer to your question, Mr. Boyd, I know I'm not here to speak for the county board. I'm here to speak for myself as a member of the advisory board. In answer to your question, Mr. Bruner, you are correct. I did take pictures at the airport, mostly to satisfy our insurance agent, Diamond Brothers. They didn't know how many planes were out there under control of Mr. Bode. Because any of them that's been out there for any length of time has to have proof of insurance. There's no way they could connect the pictures with the planes. So I took the pictures of the planes and put them with the FAA direction of the planes. So I really didn't see any of you guys out there doing any of this work, so I did it all myself, on my own time, spent my own money, had the picture developed. Now Mr. Farnham has all those pictures with the planes, so he can check on the insurance. Anyone that knows me knows before I make a decision, I research it thoroughly. I don't sit on the fence and then later say, golly gee, why didn't I do something to help out that situation? I previously served on the county board for 8 years, and 6 years I was its chairman. During those years, I spent a lot of time with all aspects of keeping the airport on the right track to success. I am now chairman of the Airport Advisory Board, and I was also on the advisory board the whole 8 years I was on the county board. The biggest difference I can see between the county board that I served on and this county board is the fact that we had a lot of respect for each other. And with this board, I don't see any of that respect. We worked together to create the 911 system, the county health department. We created a standalone ambulance service, among several other issues. I think one of the things that surprised me the most that we have Dan Bruner and Jeff Boyd and Carl Farnham on the Airport Advisory Board representing the county board. And not one of these individuals has had a clue about how the airport should be managed or how the airport grew to what it was prior to RSB Aviation taking a giant hold on a landmark that was built and maintained with a lot of integrity and grit. It was easy for Mr. Bruner to make the motion in February that he was going to write a contract for commercial business and be able to operate the main hangar and have that contract ready to present to the board in the March meeting. We all know that didn't happen. When he finally gave a copy of the contract to Mr. Isef, it had major issues. It was given back to Mr. Bruner to basically start over again. Another thing that I find absolutely ridiculous is the fact that you have a man that is a pilot, a mechanic, and has served on the Airport Advisory Board for 25 years, and therefore being very attuned to grant assurances and all that goes into the work of overseeing the operations of our county airport. And this man is your own county board chairman, Chris Patrick. And not once have any of you guys asked you the question. There's no one in the world that I have more respect for than my father, Russell Majors. And even though he has now passed away, I still hold him in high regard. He worked extremely hard his whole life to build and maintain his own business. The one thing in his life that he did for himself was to get a pilot's license and purchase his own plane. Over several years, he owned different planes, and among those, a 206 that was able to hold a casket. Many people were brought home in that plane to the final resting, and my father never charged them a dime. If I remember correctly, he took Carl Farnham and his family to Auburn University to look at the campus that Carl was going to attend, and he didn't charge them a dime. He did that for many, many, many other people. And my father, the cereal mill with the Warner family, McCulloch family, Bill and Betty Huffman, Zimmerly Ready Mix, and Jack Asher, just to name a few people, are the ones that gave contributions continuously to maintain an airport that they were very proud of. These kind of people, the foundation will always be remembered. On the other hand, I can't really figure out where Rusty Bogue is coming from in his quest to maintain a commercial business in the main hangar. Out of his own mouth, he told the advisory board that the economy was bad. Not that many people charter planes anymore. Not that many people were ready to pay to get a pilot's license. The crop dusting business was down. I asked, where's the positive? He has 4 employees, and a person has to wonder how he's paying for them. According to Gary Henry, who stated in the December 14th issue of the Beacon News, Mr. Bogue grossed $900,000, with $250,000 of it for his employees. When he supposedly had 6 employees, and now down to 4. But to the advisory board, Rusty said he had a loss of $65,000 during the same year of 2012. Mr. Bogue has questionable business practices, and for appearance sake doesn't look very successful. The fiduciary responsibility of the county board and of the airport advisory board is to make the best financial decision for the taxpayers of Edgar County. Rusty Bogue is a very good and qualified pilot, but as a businessman, he lacks the qualities to manage his own business on a day-to-day operation. The risk to the taxpayers retaining RSB Aviation in the main hangar at the airport, created by their own deficiencies in insurance and financial backing, pose a greater liability threat than an asset to the county. At this time, RSB Aviation occupies several spaces that he's not under lease for, and is causing a problem for visiting pilots and staff. This includes our former AWOS room, our pilot's lounge, and our upstairs storage area, where 3/4 of space is occupied with belongings of RSB Aviation. Right now, he has 11 planes or so under his control of the airport. Among those, one has a propeller off and laying in the hangar, one is being used to take parts off of, and the rest are being tied down on the tarmac. His own T hangar is so full of junk, there's no way he could keep a plane in there. To address the issue of the county losing money if RSP was not paying the rent enforced in the 3 spaces of the main hangar, there are numerous ways to make perceived loss of income. It has been done in the past and will be done in the future. Mr. Bowie has his business at Area County Airport not in spite of Mr. Wells or Mr. Patrick, but because of them. They were his biggest advocates. They even permitted the use of space and resources at no charge. They would, But now, Mr. Bowie's reluctance to abide by state and federal laws and his inability to regularly pay for fuel has created a great concern. To have a plane based in Illinois, you have to have a current Illinois sticker on your plane to be in compliance with state regulations, and Rusty has none. As far as Rusty's fuel bills, they normally won't go through on his credit card until the 3rd or 4th try. This is absolutely unacceptable. He has carried as much as a $20,000 fuel bill before he finally pays it off. When he was operating his crop dusting service last year, he had several spills and didn't clean a lot of them up, and left stains on the tarmac, and there's still a bucket of chemicals sitting out there. This is just a sloppy way to conduct business. Rusty went 18 months without workman's comp insurance. The only reason he got it last December was because he's going to be fined $500 a day until he produced it. Diamond Brothers Insurance, representing the county, has asked for insurance certificates from Rusty's insurance company so they can have them on file. And so far, they don't have a complete assurance that RSP Aviation is fully covered. So the county is carrying a heavy liability, not knowing what kind of, or if Rusty has the correct insurance for his business. The new runway was put there under the direction of Jimmy Wells, airport manager, the airport board, Jack Asher, who paid the county's portion of the project, IDOT, and Hanson Engineering, not Rusty Bowe. It had been on the airport layout plan for 30 years. Through experience with RSP Aviation, I feel it has been proven that the main hangar cannot accommodate RSP Aviation or any other commercial operation and still be accessible and utilized by the general public. The continued success and growth of the Area County Airport relies on its ability to be managed in an efficient manner to meet its obligations to the general public and also to the state and federal government. However, any commercial entity, and this has been offered before, desiring to operate out of the county airport, including RSP Aviation, is welcome to submit its request to lease land to build a hangar suitable for its needs right next to the tarmac. Here are the rest of the pictures I took. If you want to pass them around, the stuff that I discussed. And the stuff's on the back of them, and what they are. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Donna.
We changed our public session time limit.
You're out of order.
You betcha.
Next item on the agenda.
One comment on Russ's insurance. We asked Jimmy Wells last night. After the meeting, he did say that Rusty is concurrent on his insurance and he has paid the rent that he owed for the back use of the hangar. So at the present time, he is up to date and everything. So she said he wasn't, but he is. That's from Jimmy Wells' mouth.
Next item on the agenda. Committee reports. Mr. Boyd.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I passed out a budget to all of you. It's up to date. The one that you got on Monday was as of the end of the month, so I have fresh figures for you roughly. We have 50% of the year has passed, or at the end of the month it will. I've added in 2 payrolls and basically other things that I think will be added in. And we're basically at 41.4% of our budget at this point against 50% of the year. Our income, or revenues, is at 34.6. And of course, some of that can be explained by our tax receipts, and some of the other things are backloaded, whereas a lot of our expenses are front-loaded. So we seem to be on track. We're going to try to get the Finance Committee has tried several times to get together, and we've been diverted by other things, but we will attend to our jobs and make sure that some of the adjustments are made to the budgets. I think Carl's going to tell you about our labor, hopefully our labor issues, which I think turned out positive, are behind us, so we can adjust the budget for those and move forward. And you know, we respect the people that work with us and for us, and we'll move forward. That's what I got, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Excuse me just a minute.
Sorry, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Boyd, you probably don't know that, I have a person who's getting ready to retire, which is gonna cause a lot of overtime. 30 days worth. I have another one that's in class right now, who's gone for 4 weeks, which is causing a lot of overtime again. So, I know the figures aren't there, but it's gonna raise the salaries.
Well, we'll discuss that with the sheriff's committee and the finance committee and see where you're at and do the best we can to accommodate it in the budget. That's
I'm
all we
sorry, I recognize the sheriff. That's a joke. Carl?
A couple weeks ago, we met with the road deputies union and got a tentative agreement. Have you heard anything back where they voted or anything? You've measured
Haven't got anything back from weather's all.
So we're waiting to hear from them to get all the language back and get that all and take a look at it and make sure. And then maybe by next month, we might be able to present that to the board.
Good.
That's it.
That's it?
Yep.
Mr. Helsley?
No, sir.
Nothing. Mr. Zuber?
Nothing.
Mr. Janis?
Nothing.
Mr. Brenner?
Yeah, we had a animal shelter meeting on Monday, and there, I had a letter from a person that's complaining about dogs barking. Andrea, I think, was talked about also. The problem is the dogs are in the city and the guy lives in the county. So in other words, dogs on one side of the street that's causing the noise, and the guy that's complaining is on the other side of the street, and he's in the county. We kind of came to the conclusion it's more of the city's problem than the county's problem. But I'll read through the letter and see what I can do about it.
Okay, good.
Doesn't the city have jurisdiction so far out of the city limits?
Zoning only.
It's just for zoning?
That was my understanding. 2.5 mile radius. Anything else? If not, the next item on the agenda is closed session. I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. You want me to read this?
Yeah.
To discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body, pending litigation, and review closing session minutes through April 2013. Now I would entertain a motion to go into closed session. Motion by Mr. Janis, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mike. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We will go into closed session.
Mr. Clerk, camera off.
Yeah, turn it off, please. Thank you, Don.
There you go. Okay, we're back in open session. I would entertain a motion acting on the review of the closed session minutes.
I move that the minutes of the closed station remain, or the different minutes of the various closed sessions remain closed.
Got a motion to have the minutes stay closed. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Alan. All in favor. Do we need a roll call on this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Jeff, second by Mike. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We are adjourned. Thank you, gentlemen.
Gentlemen, before you go, I know it's not in the meeting, but since you let somebody sit up here and lie to you, I would appreciate it if you would look at these photos of Jimmy's area of responsibility and notice all the OSHA and safety violations that we have noted, and ask him to clean it up. I mean, since we're nitpicking, let's just get nitpicky. Look at that regular metal wall locker with all the flammables inside the building. Mr. Zuber, I know you know this is unsafe, and I would hope you would support demanding that he clean it up, and it's privacy violation with leaving the receipts for credit cards just hanging out for everybody to look at.
Yes.
I know you wouldn't allow that. That's a regular wall locker right here with all those flannels. Then you got paint cans, coffee cans full of oil, used oil, just sitting there, waiting on a fire.
He's out of the shop.
Yes,
Or the main
in
hangar.
Jimmy's area, the main hangar. Oily rag in a cardboard box, waiting for a spark. Unlabeled containers. Oil dripping off the snowplow, being picked up by a rag instead of dry sweep and a oil pan.
Really what needs to happen, there's a final.
That's not their area of jurisdiction. Part of the labor here, it's Adrian County, you can.
I'm just saying, six different people, and sometimes they never be the same.
But I would always have to clean everything out of that boiler rack too before.
Oh, yeah. Whether he did or he didn't, he's coming out there. I knew you said orange.
Man, track safe, you out, use the oil,
I had to have pending litigation.
Like my shop.
Sometime the next day or two,
it's fine, go over at your house.
I'm talk to Jimmy and Rusty and get some information. Then we'll proceed from there.
Meeting's over.
Yeah, we can open the door. Meeting's over.
So I don't know if they.
I mean, it's not something that would take forever to clean up. I'm trying to make is, it's all at the airport and Jimmy's there. The point I'm trying to make is, goes out there and takes pictures of just sitting there.
Yeah, it's all over.
So you got to.
We need to find out what the other.
I know my brother's the state's attorney, he said, we're good.
I took, you know why I took you? Because I knew she was taking her, we had to have some sort of.
I talked to him.
Gotta get her out there.
Yesterday, was it at lunch, somewhere at lunch?
Is that the old guy?
Yeah, he was 96.
I'm sitting down at South Point.
They were talking this morning, they're up against Mother's Day, and there's graduation of a lot of universities on Saturday. Just trying to figure out how to proceed. John and Dean, funeral arrangements.
She just got called, sat there on the table, and if anybody wants to look at it, then she takes it back. She always gets this and the water gets right, it's not a regular medicine, but they're always, every month they're here to look at. Occasionally I look at it.
I've got confidence in you guys on the airport, we can take care of all this stuff. That's what you're,
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well, like last night, I didn't report on it.
And I know I heard
Basically, us three take this contract,
you guys are gonna talk.
moving forward.
Yes.
whatever.
That's why.
We've been
I
able
know,
to
what I did is
identify
I opened that up, that resolution that King gave us. The questions asked me, I just dropped it all open up here real quick, and I saw something that said, the treasurer shall dispose of all property or assets.
That's what flag.
If, well, if we're going to merge or give up the mass transit, give it all to everything about mass transit.
Right. They're running on.
Sure, that's what I'm talking. I'm never
Well,
gonna.
there's like,
I don't have the eyes
so
for it.
that's, I just saw.
My arms get so damn
I
tired.
didn't read the contract.
We need to know what's supposed to be
Dispose of. And I thought, well, why do we
That's a lot of flaps, isn't it?
if we're gonna turn right around and get rid of everything in it.
Jeff, grab a big enough rocket.
If that's part of the agreement, now we can say, okay, we'll agree to join, but we're only gonna give you one. Sheriff like that. I know that. And I can show you,
Do you know the story?
I can show you which one I know.
Thank you.
We got two of them, I don't know.
Later, man.
Does Terry know?
No, I'll tell her here in a minute.
I mean, Vicky's not here, so
I'll give that to
she's,
her.
she knows the list.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know the years, I don't know any of that stuff. Why should I find out?
It's better than
It's somewhere in the.
And they said, well, I don't know.
No, I mean,
I don't know how many people, I don't know.
People was waiting to use this courtroom.
When did it purchase? When did we own
Because I talked to her, I didn't talk to her. They bought them like grants and everything else.
Separate from the house.
But I think it's just something with grants and another agency too. Grant, maybe. That's the case with that.
Right, right.
But yeah, they bought them.
Those titles are in County Decker. And it probably had to come through the county, even though the money was going. They're just titled in the name of the county. And that's why we have service, we have communion with them, they do everything with them. But if the title's in our name, we own it.
Drive by his lake.
Oh, you're yes.
Well, it changed to 5:30 in the morning.
Oh, you got it
I
over with? Was that back?
That you know of.
That I know of, that I know of. So I'll ask Mark about that.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind asking.
Yeah.
If they don't want either one, you can always sell them. See you later.
See you later.
I'm not kidding. More, you guys cite different words and wisdom and laws and stuff, and what I really like about this is, sometimes it's only to unless it's on very specific stuff. You don't have a whole lot of laws. Oh, right, that's what, that's the problem. I have a certain authority, it's like, yeah, I make decisions all the time. They're all around. No, no,